Hello and welcome to the debate part 2. This is a second part to the debate that we did last weekend, February, whenever that was, February 5th, right? That's how time works. So we did half of our points. We're going to go through the rest of our points. I'm Drew, and joined with me are my two co-hosts. We have Chantele from Reality Realness with 3 S's. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. It's actually my best friend's birthday today, so tomorrow we're going to be doing like a fun little afternoon together. But I am actually very excited to be here to defend some of these unpopular opinions. I got a lot of messages from a lot of people that really enjoyed last week, and so I'm hoping that this week will measure up. And people have been like, "Oh, you should do it for Big Brother. You should do it for Survivor." And so we don't even need to stop at the challenge. And so I think it's going to be really fun that we might have even created like a new series right now. So I'm totally excited to hear what you guys have to say and get my points across.
So you're going to take care of business tonight, and then tomorrow you're going to have fun and celebrate with your friends. Yes. That's what I'm hearing. I'm also joined by Chris from the Nullified Take. Chris, how are you doing tonight from here, but the day there?
Yeah, afternoon here, and good afternoon from Auckland, New Zealand. We've just got a little bit of a cyclone, the tail end of a cyclone hitting New Zealand at the moment. So a bit of rainy weather, a bit of storm, but I thought I'd still jump on here for a break. But then I realized I'm going up against Chantele, the people's champion from week 1. So I'm sure the cyclone's nothing compared to what Chantele's got cooked up for us here in this debate today. So looking forward to it. Had a lot of fun last week, but I think, Drew, me and you were in for a tough battle.
Just a smidge, I would have to say, especially from all the comments on my community post announcing this. And when I put in Tori should be the face of the challenge or whatever, and then how many comments I got from that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be defending that. Like, I got to talk pro Tori on here. And I'm getting a lot of comments that don't seem like they're going to be going my way. But yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting. I think we've all are coming in with a better idea of what are we going to do or what we got into. Because I think all of us were like, this could be anything. Let's see how it's going to go. And then we got destroyed by the poly train by Chantele here. And we're like, well, we got to go rethink everything.
Drew, you didn't warn me that your fan base were such big poly fans coming into this. I wasn't prepared for that.
I wasn't prepared for it either. I think Chantele was just pushing everybody from one way to being a poly fan. So I think that was the power of persuasion right there.
Including myself. I kind of persuaded myself to be a little bit more into him. And I'm now like, you know what? If he came back, I wouldn't be so upset. And I'm like, whoa, who's that? Who's speaking? So
yeah, you've changed. I don't even recognize you anymore, Chantele. You've changed.
This is all what this is supposed to do, is us going for things that we might not always want to go for or may not think about. And then all of a sudden we kind of have a change of heart when we have to do actual real deep down research. And sometimes you get just a little attached to some of the topics. So before we begin, I did want to say that I looked into polling places for live polling, and I found this place called Slido. I don't know if anybody else has heard of it. Slido, SLIDO.com. No. So it's called Slido.com. It'll if you use the code 971321 when you go to slido.com, you'll be put into where I will put in who had the better debate or argument, and then I'll put 2 options up, and then everybody can vote. So slido.com, SLIDO.com, and then the meeting number is 971321 if you want to vote for who has the better arguments after every single round. So that'll be an easier mark when we're at the end of all of our arguments, and we can actually see like a percentage of who thinks who did better kind of thing.
Sweet. Nice. And then you're going to pull it up like on a screen share so we can see like a graph or like a pie. It's kind of cool.
I'll just say the numbers and everybody just believes me. So how about we do that?
But no, you could do that though. You could, I just as a suggestion. So where it says share, you could press share, and then you could choose whatever window that you wanted, and then you could actually have it pop up so we can see it. But we could test it out. But if you don't want to, that's okay too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see how the night takes us, or where the night takes us.
I could also find it, and you can just let me share it too. Hold on. Let's see. But anyways, go on. We're good. Slido.
I mean that's all I had to say about it. We're talking and having a good time. So where do we want to start this evening? We can jump right into the whole Tori debate if we want to do that. That's the code for anybody who's looking. Tina Marie has it on lock. So definitely Slido.com, that number. So what do we want to debate first?
I feel like we probably need to start with you and Chantele on this one, because I've got a feeling I did one debate extra last time. So if we want to try and balance it out, it may have to be one of the ones that you guys go into first. Plus, it just gives me a few minutes to see what type of energy Chantele is bringing to this specific debate today.
All right. I guess that's...
It's kind of like the challenge. You don't want to go first. You want other people to do the daily first. You want to learn from them and then hopefully come back with...
I love setting the tone, guys. I love setting the tone.
Yeah. I guess we'll do that. Get all my energy out early on in this. So when people click on it on this 2-hour video, that's probably going to be again, people will get to watch this and then click off of it going like, this guy's nuts. Sweet deal. So let me think. Let me look. Okay. So this is a prompt that I think one or me just came up with, and it says, should Tori be the new face of the challenge? I am yes, and Chantele is no. This is my ultimate nightmare, trying to come at it and try to do a good job. So I guess I'll start things off, if that's cool, since I'm 4 and I have an uphill battle. I know Dolores is correct. Be very afraid of Chantele has her glasses on. I looked up and you had glasses on. I was like, all right, I'm already thrown off.
I'll take them off for your debate, and then
no, it's fine. You can keep them on. It's all good. All right, here we go. I'm gonna get on to it, starting with my arguments. All right, so Tori has been an MTV staple since 2016 when she made her debut on Are You the One? Season 4, where she may not have won the entire money, but still walked away with $37,500. Then she came back on for Are You the One? Second Chances, where she got another $12,500. That's 50 grand she won on her two shows before coming on to do any seasons of the challenge. So coming on to the challenge, Dirty 30, she then followed that up with an incredible rookie season on the challenge where she won 4 dailies, got 2 double crosses, and 1 elimination, granted against Marie, but a win's a win. She was able to make the social connections, get to the finals, snag 3rd place, which is another $15K check from MTV. Tori, after a rookie season, was asked to be on 2 challenge spinoffs, Chance vs. Stars and Chance vs. Stars 2, where she came on as a replacement on the first Chance vs. Stars, where she won an elimination against an Olympic gold medalist, Sean Johnson. She made it close to the finals, but came a minute behind Emily Scrum in a swimming purge challenge. And then when it came down to it, Emily and Bananas got to choose, and they could choose between Wes, CT, Zach. They were never going to pick Tori. Tori was never going to make it to the finals unless she would have won, and she didn't win against an amazing competitor like Emily Scrum. Then in between her, hold on. Okay. In between her appearances on her spinoffs was her mercenary battle in Vendettas, where she went up against Cam, another rookie sensation. It was a tough battle as she ranked, it was a tough battle as I ranked it in the top 10 of pole wrestles in challenge history. And on top of that, Cam won 3 eliminations on her way to the finals in her rookie season. So ultimately, Tori's first elimination loss came from a very strong competitor in Cam, which Cam's elimination record is 8-2 overall. So, I mean, Tori, hasn't really been eliminated from a challenge season at all. And when she has lost in a competition, it was against really strong competitors. Champs versus Stars 2, Tori had a better footing as she almost made it to the finals yet again, but lost in another Purge challenge against CT and Tony, Wes, and an NBA star, Booby, Casper, and Luis. So to recap, already Tori has been on 2 seasons of Are You the One, made 50K, was on 1 challenge season, made it to the finals, and got 15K. She was on 2 challenge spinoffs before being ever on a 2nd season, and she was also a mercenary. I don't know who else has done that before anybody's 2nd season of the challenge, but she was back on Final Reckoning, where she was partnered with her ex Derrick, which was a huge anchor. I mean, if she was partnered with anybody else, she would have won, hands down. The only thing that killed them was losing against Joss and Sylvia, whom say should have won the season since they were 11 seconds behind, quote unquote. But maybe Ashley's TV moment was fared better than Sylvia and Joss winning it, maybe fairly and squarely. So then they went to the Redemption House, wasn't picked by Devon and Josiah. So, I mean, they were never going to make it very much farther after that. Then she was on War of the Worlds 2, where the numbers were stacked against her, against Kara's Colt. Her and Jordan were against the world. She won 2 eliminations, one against Georgia, a rookie sensation from the season prior, and Jenny, who went on to win the next season of the challenge. So she made it to finals, lost in a puzzle. Up to this point, she really hasn't left the game via an elimination. Straight up. Let's just be real. So in Total Madness, I would say that Jordan and the skull twist was her downfall. The skull twist was new. It got into her head. She was overthinking it. Jordan was there pressuring her when to go in, how to go in, who to go up against. She decided to go up against Jenna, who is a beast in eliminations. I mean, we saw in episode 3, CT lose to a rookie Jay and take shelter elimination, which is all about knots and was tailor-made for CT and was CT strengths, and he lost. So Tori going up against Jenna, who everybody said was checked out, but I think everybody miscounted her, as she was 5-2 in elimination records heading into that elimination. So Tori, yet again, going up against Jenna, losing. So now we have double agents, where she lost against Anissa. She was thrown in for not getting along with the rookie women. She was coming in with a lot on her brain, a lot on her mind. I would say that's an outlier season, because she was in there not knowing what's going on. She was just in the middle of a messy breakup with Jordan. They were on a break. Who knows what was going on, but she came into the season looking for some solace, and there was a lot going through her mind. She wasn't playing the game that she normally plays. So she had okay. Oh, hold on. So for the first time in her career, she had back-to-back losses. You know else who had back-to-back losses? Some of the greats. Bananas in Battle of the X's 2 and Bloodlines. Also War of the Worlds and War of the Worlds 2. Wes in X's Episode 2 and Battle of the Seasons Episode 1. Cara Maria in X's Episode 5 and Battle of the Seasons Episode 3. Laurel in Invasion of the Champions and War of the Worlds 2. Ashley in Total Madness and Double Agents. Or you can just say Double Agents twice, because she also lost against 2 people in Double Agents back-to-back. And then Derrick K in Gauntlet 2 and Fresh Meat, just to name a few. Where Tori came in with a new Challenge 37, Tori came in with a new sense of purpose, a better social game, and drive. She won 5 total daily challenges on the season, one with her partner Ed and the others on an Emerald team. When she moved to the Ruby team, we saw some different strategy come out. Did she lie down and try to throw challenges to help her once Emerald sell? No. She made deals to help try to get Ruby a fighting chance. Hell, once she got onto the Ruby team, they legit had a fighting chance. Tori made it to the finals, crushed them, and would be a champ if it wasn't for a broken format to help Casey get the win after sucking win for 95% of the final. And even with the 4-time champ, Tori and Kyle lost by mere seconds. We all know Tori was robbed and should be the one with the title Challenge Champ. Let's just take a look at Challenge 37 cast for a second. Tori is the only woman challenge vet that has been on 5 or more seasons that has been consistently a top competitor in the game. Tori, I think, is hitting her stride in the game and will be gaining confidence heading further. Not only is Tori a strong physical competitor on all her seasons, she's also worked on her puzzle abilities. She has personality, which means she's reliable in confessionals and sometimes strikes gold, which is more than what we can say for 65% of the players that are on the cast for the show. She also gave us some drama going against her Emerald team this past season, as well as stirring the pot between Fessy and Amber, which helped get Fessy off our screens for a good chunk of Challenge 37, which I can say we all appreciated. Without the drama, this season would have been a vet alliance and a snore fest, more so than it already was. And Tori gave us some hookup content, cuddling up with Kels, Ed, and Emmanuel. I mean, she didn't really hook up with Ed, but she was trying to with her cabbage salad. Tori's challenge career is going the exact path as one challenge star, and that's Cara Maria. Cara's first 6 seasons, she had been to 3 finals. Cara won on her 8th season, a 2-time champ, and Cara was also really involved with a challenge legend, Abram. So very much so in line. So Tori is also the co-host of the Challenge official podcast. If we think about it, Tori is one of the voices of the challenge. Why not just make her a face along with it? I'll stop there.
I mean, you did mention a lot of losses that she had, and you also had to really lay out how her path might be similar to other challengers that are like more credible. So I just find it really interesting. And also I find it interesting that why wouldn't the producers have rigged the season for her to win if she was that well loved and well appreciated and should be the face? Clearly production does not see it that way. So here's the deal. Tori deal, that is. That's for you, Drew. Tori began her MTV journey on Are You the One season 4, and she also played on Are You the One Second Chances. Her first season in the challenge world was Dirty 30, and seeing her on her rookie challenge season was probably her most interesting part of her journey in the challenge. Tori has had a story arc that has been kind of one note. Tori just tries to play like the relatable woman, but I just think that she's just a boy crazy clout chaser. Tori has received a lot of criticism for seemingly having a lot of success in her challenge career being defined by the men in her life. This makes sense because she started on a dating reality show, and Second Chances actually intertwined relationships with competing for money. I think that Tori would be better suited as the face of Are You the One Second Chances. So Tori entered Dirty 30 in a relationship with Derrick Henry, but he did not perform well during the season, so she kind of dropped him and left him with a friendship with the newly 2-time champ Jordan Wisely. He was the new competitive it guy, and he gave her clout. MTV was hoping that Tori would be the new female face of the challenge, but when she came back as a mercenary in Vendettas and lost to rookie Cam, MTV and most of the audience lost interest in her being some sort of legend in the making. More like a flop in the making. Yeah, sorry to say. So yes, Tori has trained athletically. Her Instagram has many videos of her working out. So yeah, I agree. She's a decent physical competitor, but she isn't reliable in her abilities. She beat Marie in Vendettas, grabbing patches off her jumpsuit. Okay, that's a win. She also beat Sean Johnson. Yes, she's a Olympian, but she's also about a foot shorter than Tori. I think Sean John is under 5 feet and Tori's about 5'9". So I don't know if that's really that competitive, but a win is a win here. We also have to remember she was a replacement this season. So she wasn't even a first draft onto the season by producers. She was there because nobody else could be a replacement in that season. So she was an alternate. Tori and Derrick lost to Sylvia and Joss in Final Reckoning, another loss. She did manage to beat Jenny and Georgia in War of the Worlds too, but her failure at the puzzle in the final completely overshadows those wins. What's the point of winning if, when it counts to get you the money, you can't come through? And if you can't come through, how are you going to be the face of the challenge if we can only expect you to lose when it counts? In Total Madness, we see that she lost to Jenna, and Jenna didn't even have her heart in it. As you said, Jenna had checked out, or it seemed as though Jenna checked out. yes, we call her Barbie Beast Barbie, but like Jenna was way into what was going on with her relationship with Zach, and the fact that she couldn't beat a checked out Jenna, another loss. In Double Agents, she lost to Anissa, and we're saying that, Anissa has a really great elimination record, but she's not in the best shape right now. And so the fact that she was able to lose to Anissa, I don't know, 4 wins, 3 losses in her seasons, I'm not really excited about those stats. So Tori has accrued about 680,000 Instagram followers, which makes her persona just to be, in my opinion, a little bit more performative. She is the official host of the Challenge podcast, which is great for her, but it seems that it's going to give her this varnished persona. I don't know who she really is, which makes me not want to root for her. And there's no way that the face of the challenge can be unrootable. We want to be rooting for her. So she, to me, is not the real deal. And I don't want to see her as the face of the challenge. And I don't think the producers do either.
So I would say that when you talked about the production should have rigged it for Tori, I would say that they rigged it for CT, who was partnered up with Casey, rather than Tori, who was partnered up with Kyle, who seems to have a lot more stamina, a lot more seasons going for him. He now has a family, but he's gonna come back to the seasons over and over and over again. CT, we don't know how many more seasons he's got, so they're gonna be pushing the whole CT, getting as many wins as he can before he's walking out the door. Also, I would have to say that I don't know now. I have no clue. I lost my train of thought right there.
Well, I mean, one thing though, just like with the Tori of it all, and comparing it to CT. So, okay, sure, the producers are rigging it for CT, but why aren't they rigging it for someone that should be the face of the challenge? They want to create a person that we like, that we want to win, that we're excited for, that we're rooting for. If they're doing this for CT, then why wouldn't they be doing it for Tori if that is what the mission should be, is that she should be the face?
So also on top of that, with the whole War of the Worlds 2 purge at the end, you know who else was sitting on the beach waiting, just watching the boats go off to phase 2? We have Cam, we have Leroy, and we have Ashley Millionaire Mitchell, a 2-time champ who's known as a puzzle master, was also sitting on that beach, not doing anything. So we can't really get on Tori for losing out on a puzzle when there were so many other people that were losing out on puzzles that normally would do great at puzzles. What happened to the 2-time champ? Also, the face of the challenge, quote unquote face of the challenge, is never going to be 100% liked by everybody. Johnny Bananas was looked at as the face of the challenge. Johnny Bananas was looked at as the face of the challenge. I mean, he's one of the most divisive people on the show. Cara Maria was the face of the challenge. Heck, there was one point where Corey was up on Times Square with the challenge logo by his stomach or abs, whatever. I mean, so it's very like random who they're trying to make the face of the challenge, but at least Tori is consistently getting better, consistently doing what she can to be better in the game. And I saw some people, I'm going to be right now on my community post, talk about Ashley. Why not Ashley be the face of the challenge? Why does it have to be Tori? Let's talk about how many times Ashley has quit during a challenge. Let's talk how many times that she was voted off her Real World season, which doesn't happen on Real World. I haven't watched too many seasons, but she was voted out or barred from coming back in from her own castmates, one of which was Corey, who she told, my family would own your family. Also, she was kicked off this last season for some defamatory or whatever we're calling it, words comments towards another castmate and had to be taken out. No, definitely, heck no.
Ashley I definitely don't think that Ashley should be in contention here, like at all.
But the whole thing I was trying to bring up with Cara, with even Sarah Rice or other challenge legends, quote unquote, is it took them a while. CT didn't even win his first challenge season until 8, but everybody loved him, or everybody was pushing for him, or he was divisive back in his days until he came back. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, just like we're talking about her being the face of the challenge. And I think that compared to all these other people that you've mentioned that have had billboards and, people saying Johnny Bananas is a face, all these people that we've talked about that could be considered the face of the challenge, they might be divisive. Yes, they might be polarizing. But one thing that they do is they are able to get people on their side to root for them. They have people that want them to do well. And unfortunately, for me and a lot of people that I know, nobody cares if Tori does well. We're kind of like, meh, one note, meh. I don't, what else does she bring into the table? It seems that she doesn't bring anything to the table, but this varnished, like, personality that just seems a little bit boring. And so I'm just not a fan of what she brings to the table, which means that other people probably aren't a fan as well, which means that she can't be the face of the challenge if people don't really care for her brand. They don't care for it. They don't want it. They don't want to buy it.
So you don't care for somebody to bring in drama with her best friends. She doesn't, you don't care about her, hookup drama where she brings into that. She don't care about her social game, which she does great on the challenge. You don't like somebody who can make it to the finals and actually be personal in the confessionals. Who do you want it to be? Do you want it to be Casey, who doesn't do much except walk around? I mean, is that what you want? Is that what everybody wants?
I would rather Casey be the face of the challenge than Tori, because at least Casey can compete in a more reliable way.
All right, I'm gonna put up the poll, but that last sentence should make it me win. That should make me win.
I kind of felt like we needed to take Chantel's mic away for that last sentence. Just put on mute. What are you talking about, Casey? Face of the challenge.
Well,
I know we're gonna have to debate that later on
in a bit. So
yeah. That was fun. That was a lot of fun to watch you guys go back and forth there. Great arguments on both sides. I'm really interested in what the audience thought of those arguments. Specifically, Drew, are you getting the poll up for the guys to vote on?
Yeah, the poll is up. I just put the poll up. If you can't somehow get into it or it's not working for you,
I'm losing.
You can put it in the comment section as well.
There's
if you want to put it in the chat.
way that Tori could be the face of the challenge. Wait.
All right, we're stopping the poll.
Wait, you can pull it up. Want me to pull it up? Here, I'll do it for you.
Yeah, you can do it. So
yeah, that was exciting. I like this live interaction with the poll as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, I just found it and it kind of is working a little bit. So yeah.
So just pull the poll into just click on it at the bottom. You'll see.
What?
See where like you'd pull me into the chat. You'll see the poll page in there.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay. It is getting very close. So I wanted to bring this up real quick because I found this interesting because so many times people talk about the face of the challenge and being the face of the challenge. But it's such like an arbitrary term, I feel, because there is no like locked in, this person is the face. Not every season has somebody like put, thank you, red is not a flavor, burning a vote on me. I could take all the burn votes I can get. What? Okay, come on now. Seriously? That just means that my argument...
Thank you, Lord.
That just means my argument was terrible. Even a Tori fan is just like, nah.
No, a lot of people are really liking your argument. They're thinking that just because I don't like Tori, that I'm biased in that way. But I really don't think that she should be the face of the challenge. Like, I actually don't think so. For the reason that, like,
Drew, you can be.
I don't care about her. Like, I don't.
We'll let the votes finish before you can be honest, Drew. I don't want people to sway in a different direction if you're honest about what you really think.
Well, I'll be honest, kind of like how Chantele was last week with Pauly. I kind of started like being like, wow, I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm respecting Tori a lot more after this. Like, there's still going to be a lot of cringeworthy stuff going on. Like, I can't take all of her confessionals with a straight face or listen to the Challenge official podcast. But as a competitor, I could see where people would like to root for her and see her go far. And I don't know, after the whole Challenge 37 stuff, I I really
You
want
guys
her to
know-
see that get that win once.
Yeah, you guys know Challenge 37. I was pretty hard on her a few times on the podcast where towards the end, I had to give credit where it was due. Like she had a really good final. I thought that final was stolen from her due to the completely whack twist that we had at the end there with Casey getting the power when she was underperforming for most of that final. So for me, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying I'd like Tori to be the face of the challenge, but I don't mind her on the show, So I've got to admit I resonated with a lot of what Chantele said, but that could just be me being petty to a certain degree and not wanting her to be the face and not liking her necessarily that much. But she's a great competitor. I mean, she brings something to the show. You can't have 20 or 30 people exactly the same on the show. It'll make for a boring season to watch.
So I'm gonna stop the poll since I'm winning.
Whatever.
It's been up.
A lot of people are saying that like it's my personal feelings, but and I think that they have been colored by, and that's how I rank who I think should be the face of something is somebody that I connect with, that I'm emotionally like I feel like I can see them, like I see myself in them. That's who I'm rooting for, and so she doesn't bring that out of me. And so unfortunately, like it's like it can't just be all facts like, oh, she's won 4 eliminations, so she should be the face of the challenge. Like, no, the face of something, in my opinion, means that they represent something in me, which would be an emotional connection to a certain extent. So
plus I was surprised none of you guys brought up the fact that we don't get to see Jordan compete at the moment while Tori is there. I think that if I had to choose between the two of them, I'd rather see Jordan. I think he brings a lot of drama. He's a great competitor. He's someone that when he's in the house there will be conflict. I'd rather, if you ask me who between those two I'd rather want to see on the challenge, I would go Jordan. And I'd like him to return just for her not to be there.
Baby Ice has
yeah, I just read that
too. Done deal. It is a done deal. It's a Tori deal.
Real quick before we go on, I wanted to finish my thought of what does it mean to you guys as face of the challenge? Like, because like I was mentioning, it's not a full like there's never always like a logo that'll have somebody's face on it. They're not picking it. There's not somebody that's like picked to be farther, or it's not like a real title or anything. So what does it mean? Because I've seen it thrown around like who should be the face, but everybody has their faves. Everybody has their dislikes. So to me, it's like, like, what does it mean to you, and how would it affect the game or affect the game for you? I guess Chantele, if I made sense in asking that.
So like how I feel is that they definitely have to have longevity in the franchise. I don't think that somebody that's been on just for a few seasons can really be the face. So definitely they can't be a rookie necessarily. So having history, and I personally connect with seeing the growth of a person, their arc, so I could more so see a CT or a Bananas be the face of the challenge, because I've seen them grow up and I've seen them be kind of deplorable human beings getting kicked off for fighting. And then I've seen them, be competitive and really great. And I've seen them lose and be awful. And I've seen them, come around and start having families and coming back to the challenge with having a different meaning for while they're playing the game. So for me, how I judge what I want to see as the face of the challenge is someone that I've seen their growth, that I can connect with on an emotional level moving through this game. And that's what I'm looking for. Someone that's kind of new being the face of the challenge. It's like, well, no, they don't represent me. I don't know anything about them. I'm not emotionally connected to them. I'm not interested or involved in their journey. I want to be along for the ride. And so I feel like that for me is what I most hold for somebody that's going to be representing an entire franchise, is someone that I've watched the progression and I can connect to.
I think that a great example of someone that was a face of the show when I first started watching it in Final Reckoning was Cara Maria, and you could see her on a lot of the Instagram. Cara Maria was the main face to the Instagram profile for the challenge, and having gone back and watching from Fresh Meats 2 through to Final Reckoning, catching up when I started loving the show, she was a very big mainstay in the show throughout that time. You saw her grow from this girl that didn't have a voice, someone that was basically getting bullied, I would say, on a lot of these shows, and really growing a backbone and standing up for herself. So I agree with Chantele. It's someone that you've had a journey with, someone that you feel like this person, they represent the franchise and carry it on their back because they've had longevity, because they've been able to, and for me this is a big thing, they need to be able to, because I've heard a lot of people, and I can see Cam becoming the face. I really like Cam, I want to say that as well, but she hasn't really won yet, and she's been around, but I still look at her sometimes as more of a new school player, because she's come on and off the show at times. For me, currently, probably the player that is the biggest face of the show is CT. I think especially winning so much recently, consistently coming back, Johnny Bananas having moved on, he's probably the person that most people would think of if you talk about the challenge in current seasons. But overall, I agree with you, Drew. There isn't really such a thing as this person is the face of the show. Quite interested in your thoughts about we had Lovable Nikki, who obviously comments a lot on all of our lives, which is always good to have you, Lovable Nikki, saying that no Big Brother person should be the face of the show. And it's funny for me because most of these players have played more days in the challenge now than Big Brother, but yet we still look at them as Big Brother alumni, opposed to probably earning their stripes and now being challenge veterans, which is an interesting one. It might make for a future interesting argument, an unpopular argument. Should players be known as challenge players if they've played more challenge seasons than what they've actually played on their original show?
Well, I think that, remember when we kind of get worried about the blurred lines where it's like, when do they become a vet? When are they a rookie? After 2 seasons, after 3 seasons or whatnot? I think that has to do a little bit as well with kind of gaining the respect with the fans. I think new school fans, people that just started watching in one of the last 3 seasons where Big Brother was coming on, they might want to consider one of the Big Brother players as the face of the challenge, because there's someone that they recognize, they know a little bit more of their story, know a bit of their journey. So I can see a new school player or fan wanting somebody like a Casey or like a Josh or even Fessy, Polly, could be the face of the challenge because that's what they're familiar with. But it's kind of hard to really, for me, to be able to compare any of the Big Brother players with any of the old school players where I've literally grown up with them and I've seen them through multiple decades in my life. So it's old school, new school, old face, new face. It's something like that. But I definitely think the longevity and seeing the progression and the story arc for me is how I connect with who I would want to be the face of the challenge.
So Struggling at Art puts this up as the definition of what should be the face of the challenge. To me, when reading this, I could see this instantly being for Josh, which scares me. This is
100%.
what it goes. It's like, oh my gosh, every time, every season. I mean, he gets into fights every single time and then gets to stay when he does probably the worst of the fight.
He just wants to win the money for his family, Drew. He just wants to win the money.
Doesn't everybody have a family at some point?
Yeah, and he didn't win $500,000 before. He really needs it.
Yeah, I mean, if I was defending Josh this time, I would bring that up, since I brought it up for Tori winning $50K before going into the challenge house.
Also, actually, this is something I didn't even think of, but I want somebody that's the face of the challenge who's seen every season. Yeah. And I don't think any of the Big Brother players have seen any of the previous seasons before they were on. And I think Fessy gave CT props once. Oh, I saw some highlight reels of what you've done. Good job, man. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if I could be supporting someone to be the face of the challenge if they're not invested in the challenge, if it's not something that they've been watching and part of it. I would be more inclined to wanting Corey to be the face of the challenge because he's somebody that he went on the real world because he wanted to be part of the challenge. And so he is a fan. I think they also have to be a fan of the show, not just a fan of the paycheck, so to speak.
I can see that. All right. So Chris, do you want to do one?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Why do you sound so defeated? You just won.
That was all that That was all that energy that I was dispensing at that last time, because you saw me. I was trying to spin my wheels at one point when I was just like, I can't remember. And then you took over and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the point that I wanted to make. Let's do the so Spears hit me up on the community post. Gave me like 4 or 5. But we're gonna go with, should Nany retire? Chris is saying yes, Nany should retire, and I say that she should keep playing. Is what the prompts are. You can go first, since you are saying that Nany should retire.
Okay. All right. So Nany Gonzalez, original series The Real World, Las Vegas. She played in that in 2011. She's been with us now in the Challenge World for 11 seasons. So no rookie to this game. I think she should retire. Let's be honest. She does not have the best elimination record to start with. And we'll start there first, right? 4 wins, 10 losses, 28% win record only. And I believe 2 or 3 of those wins that she got, she was partnered with Wes, who is an absolute elimination beast in Rivals 3, who probably carried her a bit. And hats off more to Wes for being able to win with someone like Nany in the team than Nany necessarily doing this on her own. Now, when Nany first came to the show, she was granted obviously a lot younger. She was in her early 20s. She wasn't afraid to do the hookups every season. She wasn't afraid to get messy, go out and drink and have a lot of fun and bring some sloppy entertainment to us MTV lovers who love the challenge, So it was very much that old school vibe. But as the seasons have progressed, we have seen Nany grow up more and more and more. Now, that's great in life. I like seeing people be grown up. I like seeing people be responsible and do the right thing. But on this show, on the challenge, snooze fest. Give me some entertainment. Give me something, like they need to entertain us on the show. And with Nany, that has not happened. Her getting into a serious relationship in recent seasons with Casey has just further sped up this whole boring snooze fest of Nany not really doing much. She's become the mom or the auntie that Josh would like to get with. Didn't happen, but now she's kind of like this mentor to Josh out there, and she is an sort of, I guess, big ally to that Big Brother Boredom 3-person alliance that is out there, and she protects them with her connections that she's built up over all of the seasons with other veterans on the show. So not only is she becoming a bit more boring and not bringing a lot of entertainment to the show, she's also protecting a lot of these players that we don't actually want to see on the show. For me, Nany's been to 3 finals. She's never actually been able to achieve anything in those finals and really go out and win. Overall, she did get a bit of money from the show, about $38,000 she's earned in total, but she's had her opportunity. And when I look at players on my show, when I look at challengers coming onto the show, I want to have a mixture of players, even if they don't win. Bring entertainment. Bring me something, make me feel a certain way, make me want to turn the TV on or jump online to go watch it on MTV Canada with a VPN, obviously. Thank you, MTV Canada. But, give me a reason to jump through the hoops to actually go and watch the show. And I feel like with Nany, that has kind of disappeared over the years. So I'll start my arguments with that. Drew, what is your counter to my reasons for why I think Nany should really retire at this point?
Look, Nany may not be as spicy as she once was when she originally started her challenge career, but like a fine wine, Nany is hitting some momentum. In her first 9 seasons, she made it to 1 finals. Her last 2 seasons, she's made it to back-to-back finals. Sure, she still needs to work on her physicality, but she's dating and spending all her time with Casey, who could really help her train well. She's being called the challenge mom, as Chris alluded to, an indication of respect and good social standing with her fellow competitors. Who wasn't in the best of shape, but was able to take a huge turnaround late in their challenge career? CT. He had the dad bod and was being called Pops on his way to War of the Worlds 2 finals, where he won. Then made it to back-to-back finals the past 2 seasons, getting in better and better shape each and every season, where he's won back-to-back. Nany was also used as one of the social media profile pictures for the show, which makes me think the challenge is wanting to make Nany a staple on the show and possibly the face of the show, which we all know should be Tori, maybe. Also, she's 33 years old, which is significantly younger than CT when he was starting to go on a tear, winning 3 of the last 4 seasons. Now, you brought up her elimination record, and it is 4-10 by traditional standings. But when you look at Battle of the Exiled in Battle of the X's 2, her and Bananas went on a streak, winning 4 consecutive redemption games, making her elimination record 8-10, which is somewhat the same as, say, a challenge beast or an elimination beast, as we're calling Anissa, who is 10-10. Nany is hitting some strides. Yes, she was also, yes, she costed Leroy some money in double agents, but that is just an indication. That was just a stepping stone to where she could be. Also, Nany just gave us some really big, deep spice in Total Madness by throwing a cup of noodles drunkenly at Anissa. So there is some spice left in there. And we saw CT get a little bit spicier once he started getting back into shape, getting back into a good standing. And like I was saying, when Nany first made it to a finals, she got second place just by 9 minutes on Laurel. And she has plenty of time, and she's spending all her time with one of the most physical women of the game. I mean, she can come back stronger, better than ever, and boom, win a challenge. And then she's only one behind Cara Maria. So yeah, boom.
One behind Cara Maria. That's a stretch.
I kind of like spindled out of there.
Yeah. Now, fair enough. I'll let you have that one. Well, let's look at it this way. I hear a lot of comparisons here by Drew, between CT and Nany. CT only really started winning later on, and then, CT getting out of shape, coming back. But let's not forget that CT out of shape still won one of the seasons. And in War of the Worlds 2, he still won a season while he had dad bod CT. Now, when we're making this comparison between CT and Nany is not out of shape currently. I mean, you look at Nany, she looks like she's in shape. She looks like she's fit. There should not be any issues in regards to her being able to perform on the day. The problem that we have with someone like Nany compared to someone like CT is that she does not have natural athletic ability. That's why when she was at a peak, she wasn't winning a lot. And why she needed other great competitors with her to win, like Johnny Bananas, the greatest of all time, or Wes, one of the people out there that have won the most eliminations. And for me, if I look at that, I don't think Nany is at that same level as someone like a CT, who's a completely different beast. CT brings that natural athletic ability. It's the same reason that I don't think Josh, and you can quote me on this and someone can call me out on it one day, Josh will never win a challenge unless it is thrown to him and production gets involved, because he does not have natural athletic ability. He can get as fit as he wants, training with one of the challenge elites at the moment as well, similar to Nany. It's not going to turn him into an overnight star or someone that's going to win all of these things. You also mentioned that production has kind of used her a bit in a way where they want to make her the face of the show. And when has production in recent seasons really gotten things right in regards to what they're doing, who they're casting, and putting out there on the show? I think it's a shaky argument to think that because production loves you, they love Josh as well, that therefore Nany should not retire. I mean, a lot of people would not mind Josh retiring today, even though production loves him, casting loves him, they keep bringing him back. Who cares? Dull point, don't want to see her. And like I said, at the end of the day, she does not even have the heart herself to still win. CT Dadbot still won a challenge. Casey in shape, Nany in shape with Casey, she gives up to Casey. She lies down and says, Casey, you take the win. I'll sit back. I don't have the heart to go all the way. You're probably in a better chance to win it. I don't want to see someone that does not bring anything from excitement, does not bring anything from a physicality standpoint, and just does not have the mental strength. She wasn't bred for it. She's not going to win a challenge. She's done, in my opinion.
I would also say that, and I believe this for Leroy as well, Bananas really kills their season. I'm just throwing that out there. I think Nany, the last 2 seasons without Johnny Bananas, makes it to the finals. And also Leroy in Double Agents makes it to the finals. But every season that Bananas was on with them, they're always seen as the top 2 like consultants for him. And so that's where I think that that's why they haven't been able to do better on their seasons of the challenge. I mean, that's just me saying that as of like looking. I already put up the poll, so you can go to the poll and vote. That wasn't part of my argument, I don't think, unless it helps me win. But I'm just throwing that out there. I think
saw
that's what
Vinny in the chat. Vinny in the chat says, "Damn, Chris, take a breath." I am out of breath after that. Like I said last week when we were doing this, like you don't know how you get until you're on this side here having to make arguments, and you get into this tunnel vision, and you just go for it. This is my battle debate persona. It's call me Chris. Quick fire, the nullify take, whatever you want to do. That's just how I do it. I can't control it.
I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. I also wanted to bring this up. I mean, there's some multi-challenge winners that couldn't win unless they were paired up with some really strong competitors. I mean, the first one comes to mind is Paula. I mean, Paula had the best 2 rival pairings ever, and she dominated both those seasons, but she had to wait for a really good rival to be partnered up with her to win. So, I mean, I think that's for many people. I mean, CT got his first challenge win with Wes in Rivals 2. Like, it took them a long time.
Are you guys going to say that about Amber though then as well? Because I know you both are pretty big Amber fans. You know,
I can't talk about Amber yet. I might have to defend her later on.
Well, I definitely, I thought you guys both had really good facts. I don't personally, I don't want Nany to hang up her challenge tights or whatever you want to call it. But Chris did put some points as like maybe what we want from Nany, maybe that is done. And maybe this new Nany that's like, I mean, grown as a person, stable person in a stable relationship, not
that's great in
hooking
life.
up with rent. Exactly. Maybe for the challenge, it's not enough anymore. I mean, we'll see what happens next season because I'm sure she's going to be back on it. And hopefully now that Casey has her win, maybe it's going to give her a little bit of drive of getting that win herself and not feeling obligated to want to allow Casey to win it, because she loves her and she has a really great chance at winning. So hopefully it will be her season to take the win. But if she doesn't start bringing something different to the table, then I would have to agree with Chris that it might be time to step out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you guys were saying. I mean, personally, I do think that she should make over to All-Stars more. I think she would have a way better shot over there with some of the competitors over there. So, I don't know. I don't want to see a lot of the challenge staples and OGs and players that we come to see on the challenge just go over to All-Stars, where we have like everything that's over on the main season is like Ninja Warrior with a house aspect to it. Like that would just be not that fun to watch if everything is Josh, Fessy, and Casey just running things over and over and over again. But yeah. I just think
keep Josh and Fessy away from All Stars, please. give us like one show to love and enjoy. And they're not veterans. They yes, they're vets within the real challenge world now. They've done a few seasons, but All Stars for me, as long as you've got that balance right between enough old school players with an old school mentality, and you can sprinkle one or two really hyper competitive people in there, I don't mind so much about that. But I think that if you bring all of the players that we see now in the real challenge over to All Stars, it's like you said, Drew, it's just going to have that same mentality and it's going to go down in the same direction, which I definitely don't want to see. But I think that if Nany does go to All Stars, I mean, she's at that age now where sort of the younger people on All Stars are normally around 33, 34. I actually think that competitively she could do extremely well. Like I would not put it against her if she's got the right pairing here, or if there is a woman and male winner for one of the seasons to potentially win a season, even if she actually went to All Stars. I think it would be a different game if she went there. I think that just in the actual challenge, the level of competitors that are coming through in the challenge is a different level of competitors to when Nany first started 10 years or how long ago. And she has not kept up with that pace. She's not a natural athlete, I don't think.
I mean, I wouldn't mind me seeing those three separate because I just like I don't like them having all that power. It's one thing that I've been frustrated with new school Big Brother is the fact that it's just like a big alliance goes and just knocks out all the people that are not in the big alliance, and then the smaller alliance like knocks everybody else out. Like it's just kind of boring when it becomes just a numbers game. I personally would rather it be, you know, back and forth and people, two sides of a house. And so the fact that they come from this like two like big alliance mentality, it actually is ruining, I think, the game. Like it's ruining the challenge. And they're not as entertaining as like, Bananas and Kenny and whatever. I know that they're deplorable people, but like at least they were decently entertaining. These three, they're not entertaining at all.
Yeah. Well, and a thing could be said too about JEK and quote unquote the mob, which they called themselves, is that it was kind of boring on some of those seasons where it was the three of them because they were so tight knit with each other. But then you had seasons where it was just the two of them or one of them, mainly Bananas, at a certain point going forward. But you didn't have like all of them on every single season. And so far we've had them on every single season since Fessy and Casey made their debut. And it's just like, all right, can we have one or two? Like we don't need all three of them all at the same time. Because I think it really skews a lot of the numbers in a way that it's just frustrating to watch because it is like wash, rinse, repeat a lot of the time.
And I think Nany, and I think I sort of mentioned that or alluded to it in my argument. I think Nany is also to blame for what we have with the Big Brother 3 at the moment because, she got close to Josh first, took Josh in. She obviously had the connections with the veterans, sort of, made Josh be accepted by them. And then you had Fessy and Casey join in later on. And then with her hooking up with Casey, I think that Nany has got that credibility where OGs respect her to a certain degree. She's played that long and that she's got the relationships. So I think that, a lot of us have been racking our brains as to how did these Big Brother players so quickly become the nucleus of what is happening in today's challenge seasons. And I think that players like Nany, and there's a few others with that experience, took them in very early on. And that's another reason why Nany should be out of there, because if you take Nany out, that is a very, and I know we've debated, we're not debating anymore.
I know,
but you
just
won. Get out of there. Get out. Like, this was one I was, it was actually unfair to you, Drew, because I did feel passionate about coming into this. I was like, yeah, I really want Nany to be gone. I do want her to be out of there because I think she gives too much power to that group, so we really should look at Nany as being a part of a foursome, really, because I think she's very well within the foursome Big Brother. She's a honorary Big Brother Alliance player.
Pretty much, yeah. All right. Yeah. I see a lot of people talking about the mob and who the mob is. I know that's a somewhat of a deep cut for kind of newer fans, but it's Bananas, Evan, Kenny at the core, and then going out from that, you had Paula, Dunbar. It depends on what season you're talking about, because on the island, it was very much the core of those. And then when it got to later seasons, sometime Gen G would flop back in and out. Like on Rivals, she was very much working with the mob and then in and out kind of thing. But yeah, it's cool. All right. Do you guys want to do one where you guys go at each other and I can take a break?
Yeah, go for it. Which one?
I don't know. Which one do you want to go to? Which one do you feel passionately about? Because I picked the first two. Or
I think we should do the Amber versus Casey conversation, Chantele. I think you've got. Is that you or is it Drew?
Oh no,
it is me.
Oh, you. Okay, we go for another one then.
Oh, okay. The one that I have with you, Chris, is Derrick has been a staple.
All right, let's do that one then.
Is that what we want to do?
This is going to hurt me, but I'll do it.
I think that's the only one that we have left to do together.
That one,
or Big T.
Let's go the Derrick one. Let's do it.
Who am I for against? I forget.
You're for Derrick. You're for Derrick. I am for Derrick. So basically, in this one here, Derrick's been a staple of the challenge for such a long time. And with this one here, I'm saying that it's time for Derrick to hang up his boots.
Oh wow!
So again,
Derrick and Nany hanging up.
I'm like I basically am retiring challenges on this podcast. I'm just like, you should retire, and you should retire. And Chantele is trying to fight for Derrick to remain on the show.
We'll see if I can do how I can do. We'll see.
You're gonna have to start this time because I think
good.
I just did the last one, so I'll go off what you said.
All right. Well, Derrick, I feel 100% should continue with his journey on the challenge. I feel that he is evolving into a new player. He is a champion. He is still the underdog. I feel that he just needs the opportunity to adapt to this new game, this new culture. I think that he has the goods. He's taken many years off, and the way that the game is played now, it has changed to what he's used to. He's used to having his numbers and used to being able to play, a different type of social game. He used to ride the middle, and now he has to adapt. And I think that we need to give him the opportunity to adapt, because I do feel that he has the heart that it takes to really be successful in this game. So Derrick, he was crucial to the first 16 seasons of the challenge. And I think that he could actually be really successful if he went back over onto the main season. He's been such an underdog that's been, they call him the bulldog, and like that he's always going to come and he's going to fight really hard. And MTV recognized this, and they asked him to come back as a mercenary. And I think it's even more interesting. He is more interesting than some of these new school players. At least he wants to win. At least he wants to go down there and fight. He's not scared of anything. And I love that fight that he has in himself. So depending on the format of the season, I know that Derrick could excel, and I could definitely see a challenge championship in his future. He's made it to 5 finals, 6 if you are including All-Stars 1. He's won 3 of them. So that's a pretty good ratio. A lot of these new school players don't have that kind of track record. And this track record definitely proves that I think he's owed many more opportunities. And you know what it takes to win? It takes an opportunity to win. So being invited back will give him that opportunity to win. He's done it before. I feel that he is capable of doing it again. He hosts the Challenge Mania podcast, and I respect that he is able to give this insider's takes on the seasons that he is on. And production, let's face it, production loves him. I don't think he's going anywhere, and I don't even want him to go anywhere. Just because he's older and he has a family doesn't mean that he should hang it up. I think that he gives old school fans someone that they can relate to, someone that we need to see more on our TV, and somebody that's just rootable. I would much rather root for Derrick than this new school crew of Josh and Fessy. Those two, I think, are the ones that should be hanging it up. Ding.
All right. Well, Derrick, I hope you guys are not going to hate me too much for this one, but he kind of seems like that guy, around school, the old school guy that had his best days when he was in high school. So he's hanging around high school kids. He's telling them about, listen, I could have gone professional. I was that great of a player. I could have made it to the pros. But his best days are like 12, 13 years ago. Let's be honest. He hasn't won a show since the Ruins. He went to a final in Dirty 30. Or was it I believe it was the Ruins was the last one he won. So he's won 4 shows, but he's won also shows mainly where it hasn't been individual, it hasn't been duos or anything like that. It's been team formats that he has won. So he's not proven himself to be that great when it came to the individual game and in winning challenges. But even with all of that happened years and years and years ago. He now has the best platform going into All-Stars because he's got a podcast, like Chantele has mentioned, the Challenge Mania podcast, where he gets to meet people, become friends with them, talk to them outside of the game. He should be running the game if he was really transforming his game and starting to play this social, political, mastermind type of game that Chantele was alluding to earlier, that he's evolving into. I mean, look at All-Stars 2. His social, political game got him sent in earlier, against one of his best friends in the game, and Brad took him out. He very clearly showed his hand to Nehemiah that he was not working with him, and Nehemiah and the King's Palace were very clearly able to get one over them. and cut them out. And this was coming from someone like Nehemiah, who is really not even that great of a strategist. If Nehemiah, who's never been able to pull an alliance together, can get one over you, I think it's time to hang up the strategical boots that you think you have. I think that Derrick is really being caught out at the moment when it comes to that type of game. Another thing with Derrick, when you look at it, he had Jody, Brad, Darrell, some of his best friends in All-Stars 2, and he couldn't make it work with them. Here's the real thing, though, Chantele, and why I think that he should hang up his boots. He went all the way to the finale in All-Stars 1 to get purged ahead of Anissa and Big Easy. I mean, come on. If Anissa and Big Easy eliminated you in the finale, I think it's time to hang up your boots. You don't have that much to give anymore. I think he talks a big game. I think he thinks he's really good at the challenge, and I think he was really good at the challenge. I do want to give respect to the Derrick of 10 or 13 years ago. He's not there anymore. I really don't see what he's going to bring to the challenge moving forward.
So so if say he won like All Stars 1, then you would think that he like still should be hanging up his gloves? Like what would make you think that he should go away? Like I feel like he hasn't been given the opportunity in this new school game to be able to participate and learn how to play the game at the same level. None of the people that you kind of compared him to have been someone that has won the game like recently.
I think that, obviously hypotheticals, if he won season 1, this wouldn't be an unpopular opinion. I think everybody would have stood behind Derrick, but he didn't win. So definitely that comes into the equation. But the real big thing is that Derrick himself is showing us that he's his own big worst enemy in the game. 100%. He's trying to play a game that he doesn't have. Now, the question is, why is he trying to play a strategic and socially political game? It's because he does know he does not have that bulldog energy, that mentality that he used to have. He's not the physical person that he was 10 or 13 years ago. So he's trying to play a scared game, not go into the eliminations, and do what he does best. So he himself knows he's not at his peak anymore. Probably in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I should retire. But what I'm going to try and do is what some of these new school players have done by trying to stay out of an elimination, get to the finale, and hope and be lucky that the right challenges or the right things come into my skill set in the finale. But like I said, if you're going to lose out, and the reason I bring this person up is to strengthen my argument. I know Big Easy has never won. I know Anissa has never won. My point is that if you lose to Big Easy and Anissa, who have never won, who has always come up short, and definitely does not have the prowess to be a challenge champion, maybe that in itself should show you don't even have the physical ability to keep up with them. You definitely don't have the social ability or the strategic ability to keep up with them. What are you doing there if you can't do well in the thing that you did well back 10, 12 years ago? It's time to move on when the one strength you thought you had is no longer there.
Well, you compared him to people that don't want to go down into elimination, and CT was able to do that exact same thing in this most recent season. And we are praising him for being like a social political genius mastermind that's able to stay out of elimination, even though he's the biggest threat in the game. And they allowed him to get to the end and where he was able to go and take the W. So if you're going to be saying that CT is a great mastermind for being able to do that and coming out in the win, like why are we not giving Derrick the same opportunity? If they had the same format that they had on the most recent season of the challenge, it's very possible that Derrick could have won that season. If we're looking at completely different games and different ways that the game was being run, and so you're comparing him to Anissa and Eric Big Easy, and how that worked is that people had to choose new partners, and he got with a partner for one part of the final that wasn't a good partner for him with rowing a boat. So you're saying that people that can't row a boat well together, is that means that they should not be part of the challenge anymore because they peaked 10 years ago? I think that's a really unfair way to assess someone.
I'm saying that if you can't physically compete with some of the worst challengers to do any physical competition, and that is your one strength you've had, you should think about hanging it up at that stage. But I do hear your argument on CT, and CT apparently, some people, not myself, I didn't mention in this debate that I think that CT is a strategical mastermind, and that might be a different hot take for a different debate. The thing here with CT is that, when it comes to opportunity, you say, let's give Derrick K opportunity. Opportunity is not given, it's earned. And CT has earned the opportunity in the main stage seasons because people are scared of throwing him down there more so than his strategic ability. Who's scared of throwing Derrick down there at the moment? No one. I mean, Nehemiah just called him on his bluff. Joss and Derrick don't play the same season, and they've maybe in the future they will, but for this argument,
Joss, not Josh. Joss.
Okay, yes. So basically, if you look at this current season, right? Derrick did not have that same aura. People weren't afraid of throwing him in there. He played his shot way too early in the season, got caught out by trying to play a different game. But the key thing here is that he tried to take control of this game. He tried to reinvent himself, like you said. And there's a reason why people want to reinvent themselves. If you were such a great champion and if you are still at the peak of your game, why reinvent yourself? CT hasn't had to reinvent himself for the last so many years because what he's doing has given him championship after championship in recent seasons. Derrick himself is, in the back of his mind, he's telling us he was this great guy that could have gone to the pros, back in the day, like I said. But in the back of his mind, he knows that he's falling short. He needs to change his game, and that's why he's trying to evolve to something else. But what he is evolving to, what he is trying, that strategy failed in the later season of what he tried to do. So I don't see him being able to turn that around. The only way for Derrick to remain relevant and competitive, in my opinion, in current challenge seasons is to get a time machine, go back in time 10 years, and compete in the challenge again. And I think he might win another championship if he was lucky enough to be in a team format season.
Whoa. I actually think, though, that if we brought him back to the main season, I think that he would have a better shot at winning, just because everybody there would be able to get together with the veterans and be able to have some sort of an alliance that's going to be able to take him further into the game. If you're saying that he's not going to be that competitive and people are not that scared of him, I still don't think that people are going to be throwing him down for the fact that they might get the wrath of other people that would be protecting him. So I think that if he was on a main season and he was able to get to it, and he got to a final, he has a very good shot at winning. He's better than some of these people that have been running the finals than they are. Like than Nelson, I think that he could beat Nelson. I'm sorry. I think that he could do a better job than Nelson in a final. So I think that we can't really compare him necessarily to, all the greats that are still on the main season, because this All-Stars, we did a whole podcast about the fact that they got rigged for two people to win. So how can we really trust what happened in those games and for it to be a determining factor for them whether they're going to hang up their gloves when we can't even trust that the production's being completely fair? So I wouldn't be surprised if Derrick was like, okay, I'll do what production wants and I won't win this season because it could be a little bit manufactured. So I think he should still stick in the game. I think that he has a lot of fights still left in him. I don't think that we should just shoot the dog because he's old. I think that we should still give him another opportunity to win because I think that he deserves it.
So, like I said, I mean, if you look at the trend of recent seasons, though, it's been duo seasons, it's been individual seasons. When has he ever actually stepped up in those seasons and done extremely well to the point where he actually won something in the challenge seasons when it comes to individually competing or competing as a duo going all the way? All of the championships that he's had has been in those seasons where he's been protected by a team or he had other people potentially that he might upset. If he was to go to the mainstream I guess, challenge seasons that are out there now, who would put their neck out for someone like a Derrick if we do even look at that? There's probably no one. He had, like I said, people this season, Jody, Brad, Darrell, some pretty intimidating good competitors in the season, but yet still people were not afraid to take that shot at him, even if he had some protection around him. So I think based on that alone, Derrick probably does not have the ability to do anything. And when last has he done anything of significance on the challenge? Definitely not the last two seasons that we saw.
Tori, what do you think?
I didn't know my mic was on. I personally think so. This is the thing. I'm in the middle of a giant rewatch for a huge video that I'm doing for the ranking all 37 seasons, and I'm right now have 6 seasons left. I'm in 5. I 5 and a third left, and I'm right in the middle of Dirty 30, which is Derrick's return after a long time ago. And the thing is with Derrick is that I think he's a great competitor. As someone who is a champion, The poll is up, by the way, on Slido. I put the link and the code up. So go vote for who had the better argument between Chris and Chantele. But I have to. I think with him, it's difficult because he is a strong competitor. I think he could last longer because of his size, and nobody's really seeing him as a huge threat, even though he has the abilities to win the season. But when it comes down to it, he's not super engaging. And I wonder if that's what the All-Stars producers told him. And that's why he came in so hot, trying to be the villain of the season, because he really gets lost in the background. Like, unless it's Cara, like, motioning to tell him that Tony and Camilla was hooking up in the back of the bus, or if it wasn't for the Nelson fight. I mean, Derrick is kind of like faded into the background until he's facing off against Banana in the real world elimination and then winning. And then, spoiler alert, going on to the finals. So I feel like that's and then once in the finals, he was really piggybacking off of a lot of the other players during the puzzles. Like, during the actual physical portions, he was fantastic. But when it comes down to actually performing any sort of puzzles or anything, he was really taking a back seat. So I think that's where I get kind of like, I love him as a competitor, but when it comes to anything else in the game, it just seems like he's going to always take a back seat to the bigger personalities within the season. And I think he had a space in the earlier seasons because he was such a little guy and he wanted to prove everybody wrong and be that big, strong competitor. But now that he has some championships, now he's coming in with his kind of like his back against the wall. But I mean, he just wants to play that really low down type of game like CT does. But I see CT having a lot more confessionals and better confessionals than what Derrick can bring. So it's frustrating. It's a tale of two halves of myself when it comes to Derrick.
How did it feel for you, Chris?
Oh, that was tough. Now that this is done, and I had to go there, just so everybody knows, I am one of the biggest Derrick fans. So for me to like argue against Derrick, that was like this was the hardest one that I've had to do on any of these debates as of yet, because I just love the guy. I think he's a great competitor. He's got a lot of heart. I don't like. I mean, vote based on the arguments, not based on what I'm saying now. I wouldn't want to see him hang his boots up, to be honest. Like, I'm always there for Derrick to come back and play more games. And I do think that I was surprised that you, Chantele, didn't go in this direction, but there's an argument to be made that now with the beef between him and Nehemiah, that could create a whole different storyline going into future seasons and could bring excitement on its own. He had to take an L early this season, but I think that there's some longevity in the storyline of Derrick, the champion that got it done years ago that haven't won in such a long time, and now Nehemiah and him have got some real beef. Nehemiah got the better of him this time around, but Derrick coming back next season, he's always going to have a lot of allies around him. It's just going to be, he's going to have to play a very, like, the problem I do see with Derrick's game, and this is where I didn't feel like a sellout trying to argue it, is that when he's trying to reinvent his game to become the strategic social mastermind, I just don't think that's his strength. He needs someone else with him that understands how to play that political game, someone that can pull the strings, and then he's just got to hope for the right challenges at the right time, the right elimination. I mean, going up against Brad, the guy's a beast, and maybe even in better shape than what he was when he competed a couple of years ago. It was just a bad, draw for him going into that one. But obviously for myself, like, I'd love to see Derrick continue to compete in the future. So that was really tough. Like, I think out of all the ones that I've had to do, it killed me a little bit inside. You guys might not be able to tell because I was so passionate. I do get passionate in these arguments, but I do like Derrick.
Well, I'm finally glad to know that you got a little freaked out in some of these, because I mean, you were coming in hot, but there's so many points that we'll talk throughout the seasons, and you'll kind of just be like, I kind of liked it, I kind of didn't like it, I'm on like the middle ground here. Well,
I like to
Chantele and I are
explore all
We're like, I
options.
hated
like to
it.
explore-
Ah.
I like to, on the podcast that we do on the Nullified Take, it's myself, Chantele, and Drew as well. I like to explore different options. You know, like, well, what if this happened? Well, have we looked at it from this angle? So sometimes I think that Drew and Chantele thinks that I'm completely neutral at all times. It's just I like to explore all the different options. I don't want to be that voice on a podcast that's like, no, it's definitely just this way. We haven't explored that it could have been this, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed doing the podcast about All Stars 2 and if it was fixed at the end, because I think that a lot of different points got brought up on that podcast. We didn't just go off, yeah, it's definitely fixed, this is the tinfoil hat conspiracy that is out there. We try to explore as many different avenues as we could, which is one of the things I enjoy doing whenever we catch up and talk about it. But in this, it's very different because you have to take a very definitive and strong stance and make your argument.
It's true. It's true.
Well, it looks like Chantele is winning this round, 64-36. And I mean, if you want to, if you want to mention in the chat, if you can't get on Slido for some reason and want to say who had the better argument, you can leave it in the chat as well. But I feel like, Chantele won that one pretty handedly. Not
I'll take the L.
too shabby.
With an opposite point that I really would probably be taking, to be fair. Like, I don't dislike Derrick, but I definitely not that excited if he were to come back on Earth. Like, I don't care either way. So it was a little bit of a challenge to be super gung-ho on the Derrick of it all. Yeah. But
who would you replace him with? Because that was one of the arguments that I had, that sometimes you get into the middle of it and you just go for it and you don't look at your notes. And one of the ones that I missed was that there's other great veterans that we haven't seen come on to All Stars so far that he's actually taking up a seat.
Give me Landon.
And I had Landon and Abram up as two of the two that I would like
might
to
be
see.
problematic, so I don't know if they'll bring him on, but
okay.
As I think, I think that he has some things that are going on. But I would love to see Landon again, especially like, he won with Carly on Fresh Meat 2. Like, that was just so epic. He's so cute. Like, I'd like to see him again now. I think he's even recently got married, so he's off the market, unfortunately. But I would like to see how well he would fare now. So, but with Landon though, like, we love him, but he was never really into the strategy of it all and getting into alliances, kind of like how Nehemiah is. It's kind of like there's two schools of thought in old school gameplay. And some of them were just like, okay, you're just going to go in and win. And if it's not your time to win, it's not your time to win. Other people would try to pad their game so that they can most likely make it to the end. So Landon wasn't the pad my game type guy really until like Fresh Meat 2. He kind of got into it a little bit. And look at that. He got a win. So I would love to see what he would come back and bring to the table with, if he's watched, current seasons, how his game has adapted. I still think that he's probably going to be in excellent physical shape. So I would hands down love to replace Derrick with Landon.
I'm seeing the Miz in the chat as well. Somebody's bringing
that up. I would take the Miz. He was just on Dancing with the Stars. He was pretty good.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to see him back. With also Coral. I mean, getting them to be on a challenge season together, that would be amazing, in my opinion. Amazing, should I say?
Oh,
Get
boy.
it? Get it? Boom, boom, boom. But to your point, I mean, you guys talked about adapting and evolving, and Landon evolved in a very short time, because when he lost in the Duel 2, it was because of an alliance. It was because the three guys were like, we need to get Landon out. Like, we need to go. And Landon was always the guy that was like, I'm going to let my performance do the talking for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just go in there. I'll take care of business and let's go. He was the only, spoiler alert, good guy in Inferno 2 to go into an elimination, win, and then get to stay in the game. I mean, they got decimated in every single elimination until Landon went into two of those and then came back out the other side. So after the Duel 2, he took the next season off, which hallelujah. And then went to Fresh Me 2 and was making deals with Wes, and then made deals with Kenny, and was able to get there. So I mean, it was very impressive to see how short of time he was like, all right, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to get far, and when it comes down to performance, I'll just take care of business. So yeah, Landon would be incredible, I think. to come onto the show and stuff. We're coming on to an hour and a half. I mean, do we want to do one more, or do we want to just kind of start wrapping things up? What do you guys want to do?
I think, Drew, you and Chantele can probably do one more. I've just had 2 in a row. Maybe you guys do one more, and then we'll wrap it up. And you guys let us know what you think. You know, if you love this, if there's other really good counter arguments or debates that you guys would like us to have, just let Drew know. And I think at some point we'll definitely line up a part 3 or something to this. I think that it's been a lot of fun so far.
Should we do Drew is Bananas scared?
I was thinking that one too. Yeah, I think I was thinking of that one too. So with Bananas pulling out of All Stars 3 at seemingly like the last hour, we had somebody on my community post called Float and Rock Tube Talk. Love the name, by the way. Says Bananas scared of an all-star season because he can't manipulate newbies to protect himself. So that got us the question: is Bananas scared to play all-stars? I'm taking the side of he is scared, and Chantele is going to tell us why Bananas isn't scared of being on all-stars. Who do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I think probably you should go first.
All right.
I think
I'll go first on saying why Bananas is scared to play All-Stars. So, as we've watched the Challenge All-Stars, we've seen that it's a little bit lighter. The scheduling, the filming is a lot shorter than the main season, but also the pressure is just as high, if not higher, for an all-star season. Everybody wants to be a challenge champ, but you know what's even better than being a challenge champ? Being a challenge all-star champ, because you're going against other challenge all-stars. You're going against the OGs, the best of the best. And for Bananas, he is known as the best of the best. He's a 7-time winner, going to 9 finals. I think that's correct. Going to 9 finals, 7 times. Everybody on a challenge all-stars is a threat. But when you come in with the most wins in challenge history, winning a very recent season in season 35, people are going to be looking at you going, I want to take a shot at the champ. I want to take a shot at the number 1 competitor. You have many players who are not scared as like the players that are in the main seasons. You have Laterian, who is ready to rip off your arm for a pole, which we saw Tyler get seriously injured in, well, not seriously injured, but he got injured in All-Stars 2. You have Mark Long, who has said in a Challenge All-Stars Aftermath that he would never give up in an elimination like he did in Battle of the X's when he went up against Bananas. You don't think Bananas is a little nervous about that? You also have Wes, who's going to be on All-Stars Season 3. Bananas saw the roster, made his way down, was like, oh no, my reputation could be on the line. I mean, he does not have that great of an elimination record. I think he is like seen the most, tied with West for the most elimination seen by a player, but also tied for like one of the most the elimination losses by a player. So he's already at a disadvantage come elimination wise. And when you go into a challenge season where nobody is afraid of you or how many challenge you have won or how many dailies you have won or how many seasons you've been on, that's just more and more fuel to pick you and take you out of the game. Bananas looked at his check, wanted a few more zeros for what possibly could be the ridicule that he could be getting when he loses to Laterian, who hasn't done much in terms of challenge careers, but when it comes to All-Stars, he will destroy you. Bananas wanted a few more checks, few more zeros, but once he didn't get it, he hightailed it out of Panama and back to his cozy podcasting studio to go for the ringer. Bananas doesn't want any of that smoke unless he's getting the money, which is he's going to get paid way more than anybody else on that Challenge All-Stars cast, by the way. Already he's going to get paid the most, but now he wants to get double paid because he doesn't want to come to a challenge season where he can get kind of ridiculed in an elimination and mess up him leaving the challenge or possibly taking an extended long stay where he has that win underneath him. I mean, he went off in the sunset on that giant snowy mountain with $500,000 and his 7th win, and then rode off into the sunset for quite a while, not having to worry about anything but his NBC show that may or may not be on after Saturday Night Live at like 1 or 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning, or his podcast on The Ringer because Bill Simmons really enjoys him. Bananas is scared. He wants to stay home. And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, there is no way that Bananas is scared of competing on All Stars. He's already proved himself. He's already won a life-changing amount of money in his tenure with the challenge. It's $1.2 million, and that's not including any time he's just paid to show up. He's built an audience for himself completely. He has his own brand. We are calling him Bananas, and his name is John. He's at a point in his challenge career that he can do anything, and he still will be perceived as one of the greats. If Bananas decides to go to All Stars, it would be for an appearance fee paycheck, because he knows how to make good TV, and he's actually willing to lose and go home for some ratings. I've heard him say this, that, well, it was probably a better idea for me to lose that elimination for certain optics. So he works with production to make good TV at times because he's getting that appearance fee paycheck. He is the production pet. He's been doing it for over 2 decades. There's no way that rookies are a factor in Bananas' decisions to go on a season. And if he wanted to, I'm sure production would gladly have him on and then bring it for him to do well in the game. So I really don't think that rookies are a factor here. We have to remember that the challenge gods, they love him. And I wouldn't be surprised if, production influenced some of these dailies so that he could win some power. Because when he has power, then everybody's going to flock to him and he's going to be able to make that alliance that's going to be able to pad his game. He also has a long history with some of these old school players that would be playing on All Stars. And just the nostalgia alone would allow people to want to work with him. You want to work with people that you know well. And sometimes the devil is better than the devil that you don't. Bananas is charming. I know some of us don't want to believe it, but he is very charming. And I'm sure that he would have no trouble building a group of people that would want to work with him. Bananas is good politically. He's able to make romantic connections easily. He always has a relationship with someone on the challenge, which is great for numbers. Usually it's because it's going to be someone from the opposite sex. So if it's women voting in men or whatnot, he usually has somebody that is going to be fighting for him, at least romantically. He is a great physical competitor. We know that because he wins all the time. He wins many dailies. He's been on different variations of the show for over 20 years. Like, he gets how to play this game, and a lot of people can't compete with that. So in most of these cases, the rookies can't even figure out how to win power. They can't figure out how to join forces. They can't figure out how to target vets. So why would he be scared of these people that don't even know how to play the game? If rookies can't figure out how to beat Josh, I do not think that they make Bananas even flinch.
So let's just talk about how you said that, yes, Johnny has some ties with some of the players that are going to be on All Stars 3. But I will say that coming in with knowledge of who Johnny is also comes in with the baggage of Johnny has burned me in the past and I do not want to play with him, aka I want to get him out ASAP. Let's talk about Wes. When coming on to do the challenge All Stars 3, I feel like Bananas saw who the cast was like, wow, this really does kind of lean towards Wes's numbers. I don't know if I was the last one to take Wes out, or when we went against each other in Total Madness. He took Wes out after they were working together. What's going to happen when Wes has all the numbers on his side? Will he want to work with Bananas, or will he want to take Bananas out when Bananas has 7 wins to Wes's 2? You have Kellyanne, who is notably hates Bananas and would want to take him out, and she would be on Wes's side, aka Wes's ex. You have Nehemiah, who hated Evan and was on Rivals with Evan, where Evan is saying to have said to have thrown the challenge. So why wouldn't Nehemiah, who is very close with Wes, want to not take out Bananas. I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, Wes has so many players. I mean, Jordan is supposed to be on this next season of the challenge, and Jordan doesn't like Bananas. Naya is with Jordan and was
Weren't we
vehemently
talking about
against
rookies though? I
Bananas
thought we were talking
and
about not
X's.
having rookies on his side. I thought that that's what the argument here is.
I think I'm talking about vets not wanting to be that are going against Bananas, aka Bananas doesn't have numbers, aka Bananas doesn't have rookies to push forward against these vets that are against him. So when you're saying that there's vets and that Bananas can smooth anybody over, but what about all the people that he's coming on that he's played with before that has so much baggage against him? So that's why he wanted more money instead of, oh, there's no rookies that I can manipulate to get my way further into the game. There's no way I can smooth over Kellyanne when she has so many players that are behind her with Wes to come at me and throw me in over and over and over again until I just finally get out.
So how do you take then when Wes and Bananas kind of got together and they decided to do the unthinkable, work together in a game, and they became lifelong buds? We've heard in many podcasts that they say that some of their beef is a little bit for show. It's a little bit for television. We're trying to make good TV here. And so what's to say that Jordan is not going to make a new route as how he's going to approach Bananas if they were going to be playing on the same season together? I don't think that Bananas is scared of working with any of these people. He probably was just like, you're not paying me enough money, and maybe just getting hype around the season with like the possibility of Bananas being there might have been the only thing that production really wanted to do, was be like, hey, let's dangle that maybe Bananas going to be on there just to get the season hyped up. So I think that production used him in this particular way just to dangle the carrot in front of some of the fans with the hope that he was going to come on this season, and so that he will come back on another season again. I think I saw in the chat that someone said he's going to be on 38. 38 is probably a bigger paycheck, more weeks on the show, more money at the end. And, production still loves him and is going to favor him in the game. So I think that he makes decisions based on dollars. The price point, as you mentioned, wasn't enough for him to do this, but he'd prefer to go for a bigger paycheck over to 38.
Why can't he do both? Why couldn't he have done both? Why couldn't he cash the check for All-Stars 3, which Challenge 38 hasn't even begun to start? I heard that there is a rumor that it's not going to start filming until May of this year. So why couldn't he have done both? Why couldn't he have cashed a check?
That.
So...
But he also has a lot of things that are going on right now as well. So like maybe he wasn't able to, I mean, this is all maybe talk, but like maybe he wasn't able to get off his show, and maybe he wasn't able to do XYZ, and maybe it was more feasible for him to be able to plan 5 months down the road.
I mean, we can throw out maybes every so often. Maybe he needed to buy a new stove. Maybe he needed to be a refrigerator. But let's get to the facts.
Maybe he's not afraid of the bets.
Maybe he's just too afraid to really get out there. Oh, I just need an extra zero on this paycheck.
I'm afraid of Letarian in a pole wrestle. Come on, Drew. Like, I don't think that he's quivering, shaking in his boots to go on All Stars with people that are older than him. Like, I just do not think so. I do not think so.
I think that he is afraid to get clowned by older players that are on him because he thinks that they should be on. He gets made fun of being the old person on the main season. So now he's going to get be made a fool of by Mark, who will take him out, and then he's gonna be like, well, I got lost by a guy who's 10 years older than me. So
I don't think that
afraid
by Mark would be that bad.
What will take away that fear is an extra zero on his paycheck, but he wants to just sit in his comfy podcast seat talking about what could have been.
The dollar wasn't enough. No matter what, the price wasn't enough for whatever reason. I don't think it's because he's scared. I think it's all about the dollars.
What does the live audience think? Well, what does the live audience think of this? This has been exciting to watch you guys go back and forth, both with great points. Be interesting to know what everybody in the audience is thinking. If Johnny is scared to come back or not.
He's not scared. Johnny doesn't give a fuck.
So I don't have the pricing for Slido anymore for the free thing. So hit me up in the chat. Who do you think won? So
so what, you can only do like a couple for free kind of thing?
Yeah, it's only like 3 for free. But over on the chat, say who you think won the argument between me and Chantele, whether you think Bananas is scared or, well, who has the better argument, not if you think Bananas is scared or not. Who had the better argument? Let us know in the chat.
It's very 50-50
what do you think, Chris?
at the moment. I think listen, I've got all the respect for Bananas being as good as he is, but I do think he's a little bit afraid of going up against players that he can't manipulate as easily as he would in a normal season personally. The arguments were good both ways. It was very 50-50, the shots that you guys were taking. So I think the vote's going to be pretty close, but I definitely think that Bananas knows he's in for a hard time. Yes, there's a lot of, he would only do certain amounts for money, I guess. And if the money was right, he would probably be there type of thing. But I do think that Bananas cares about legacy quite a bit and being seen as one of the greatest of all time. But I can see both sides of the argument. When you've won 7 or 8, depending on if you look at Champs versus Stars as another win for him, even if he lost, he still won 8. No one's going to touch that. CT is probably the only person that has any chance of catching up to him at this stage. Maybe there's a few. Jordan maybe could do more in the future, but I don't know if he's got the same political game to be able to get to the final as often. So it'll be interesting to see this season play out. But I definitely think there's a little bit of hesitancy in regards to getting into a show like this because time-wise, 2 weeks, come on. It's not like he's taking up a bunch of time to go and play the game. Maybe 3 weeks with sequester. If they're doing isolation. I didn't hear the rumors about season 38. That would be exciting because CT has said he's not doing season 38. So they're probably looking for someone to fill that slot.
Yeah. I also heard that Kara and Paulie could be doing Challenge 38. I think they're really pushing back because I heard originally that it was supposed to start filming in March or something was going to happen in March. Calls went out and then all of a sudden I heard that it's going to be like May. So I feel like they're really trying to put together a really solid cast, meaning that we're going to be going for quite a while without main season challenge stuff until closer to the end of the year, probably the fall, which is going to be tough. But luckily we'll have All-Stars 3, a couple of other reality shows coming out like Survivor. And I'm going to be trying to do something where I watch past challenge seasons with everybody for Patreon and stuff, which I think could be a lot of fun to do in the meantime. But overall, I think I just think it's just weird that he made the trip down there and then kind of just was like, nah, bye, see you later. I don't know if he got a call.
But what if he got we do live in time of COVID, you know what I mean? And they didn't want them to hear that he got COVID because they have been keeping those things quite quiet, during this time. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened as well. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if I sent this to you guys, but Gamer Vev tweeted, I think it was a tweet. They asked the veterans of season 37 for their recommendations of rookies for season 38. So not only was season 37 a friend fest, but now we're asking these people to recommend their friends rather than casting, actually doing their jobs and just doing that casting.
I definitely don't want to see that. We need some strong opposing personalities. We spoke about this quite a bit on All Stars 2, taking the finale out of the equation here, obviously, because we know there's a lot of controversy around that. How exciting it was to see 2 opposing factions in the house go up against each other and having a bit of a back and forth and players being taken out. That was a lot more exciting to watch as an audience member. So for the Challenge 38, I'm sincerely hoping we don't see a big friend fest. We don't see a bunch of people just, again, one of the arguments we didn't even, and I don't know if I want to go in there because I might talk about it in the future, argument is one of the twists around the skulls twist. They're throwing all these different twists out there to try and break up allegiances, but the players are just too smart and they're working around it and still doing whatever the hell they want to do in any case. So I think the only way we really save the main season is by casting very strong personalities. One of the reasons why I said I'd like to see Jordan on the main show again, because he does dance to the beat of his own drum. He's not going to listen to anybody else. We need more individual thinkers. Get Nehemiah back now that he's really starting to bring a different level of intensity and not being afraid to go against the main group in the house. I think Nehemiah could come back and start his new, King's Palace Junior. He could start the King's Palace Academy and get some of the rookies that come in and say, hey, we'll take you on and do something different. I just want to see something different. Just give me some excitement when it comes to the main show. I don't want to see, like we've seen the last 3 seasons, it's like this repeat of the same strategy and the same people getting to the end every single time. It's boring to watch. So really worried about that. But Drew, also on the note of there being such a big gap, I'm sure that there's going to be stuff that you, me, and Chantele are going to do in the meantime. We'll jump on, we'll do some podcasts, we'll do some potential casting if there's another Rivals season or Battle of the X's or something like that. If you give us guys time, we'll think of some stuff to keep you hopefully entertained in between now and when we see the main challenge show come on. And obviously when All Stars 3 comes out, we'll be podcasting about that on the Nullified Take Weekly as well. So there should be some good content coming your way. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I even made which I have recorded and everything, and I was gonna get going on it, but I recorded a fantasy cast of X's 3 where the huge get would be Jordan and Tori, of course, would be them posted up together. They would be the CT and DM of this sort of kind of go around.
But sorry, I'm just kidding. I went there.
I'm just saying in terms of how strong they were.
No, they definitely would be a strong team. 100%.
If you're going for, there's some teams that would definitely be a Jasmine and Tyree that hooked up for one season and then was done. But it was everybody watched to see what was going to happen with DM and CT for how strong of a match they were, for how many seasons they went for being on together. So, but if they are just vehemently against it, I feel like Tori would be all for it. She's like, yeah, that's a storyline. I'll get a lot of thing. I'm going to be paired up with Jordan. Why not? Let's do this thing. But I feel like Jordan would be the one that's it's too soon. A lot went on. So it would be really tough, I think. So I counted in the chat and it looked like I won.
Woo!
Nice, very good job.
Going off of
how tight was it? Tight? Was it tight? Do you have a final total count there, or
it was very tight? It was only 2 or 3 difference.
Wow. I thought that was going to be a very 50-50 one there as well. Also, just want to mention Carlos Ronda in the chat asked you, Drew, are you watching Australian Survivor? Myself and Chantele have been trying to get Drew on to this, and he's watched a little bit of the previous season, but he hasn't watched this season yet. But if you're really starving for content, both Chantele and I do cover that season as well. Drew, you need to get on it.
I know. So the thing is that I'm trying to do this giant... I'm trying to do this giant video for rewatching the challenge series and then ranking everything.
Drew's counting. I'm just kidding.
So
production.
I've been going I got 5 more seasons. So whatever I'm not doing for videos and putting all my time for videos, which is 10 to 12 hours a day, I'm watching a season of the challenge and kind of just slugging through some of these seasons, which I'm in the 30s now. So I'm on Dirty 30, which is a struggle. And then I'm heading into Final Reckoning, which is going to be really tough for me.
It's the Dark Ages. It's the era. Oh, Lavender Ladies. Oh my God. Sorry, Abdi.
So what's really I'll do a live after I do all of it, once the video comes out. But I'll be honest, there's some seasons that surprised me in a good way and a very bad way. So it's I was like, whoa, this season was not that great for me in my mind, but I haven't watched it in years, and I love this one. Or finding a new one that I just could not stand and did not like. So I think it's very interesting. I think it also helped me kind of shape the players and how I view some of the players that you kind of get you kind of get locked into a gear with, where it's oh, this is them the last 3 seasons, and now this is what I only know about him. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're watching backwards and you're like, oh my gosh, they were incredible.
Sorry, is this what you're talking about, Lavender Ladies?
Not the lavender ladies. Not the lavender ladies. Definitely not the lavender. I have a lot of hot takes for like Jenna. I would venture to say that her game sucked because of Kayla. Once Kayla started coming on to do the challenge, her game went completely downhill, and it was all on her relationship with Kayla, who was a pariah just beginning onto the show. Like from the very minute, everybody hated her, and Jenna was like, I'm her best friend. And it's like, well, Jenna, you just sunk yourself. Like you went to 3 straight finals. You were doing great without her, and then just completely sunk yourself.
Which season was it where Kayla had blue hair and Cara Maria had red hair, and they were kind of like rivals?
Vendettas.
Kind of like it was vendettas. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it was vendettas because the first season that they did together was technically 29, but they didn't really stay long. Well, they didn't really cross paths that often, and then move over to Dirty 30. That's when they really got into each other's faces and got into fights. But when it came down to vendettas, they both made the finals, and she had blue hair, had the blue lipstick in a lot of the confessionals, and then Cara they were going after each other a lot. But yeah.
Actually, someone's mentioned in the chat that it might have been when Zach came into the picture that her game went down. Like Zach was holding her back. For Jenna.
So Zach was always in the picture because her first season was X's too. So right off the bat, they got in with each other. But Zach actually helped her in that season. Both him and John A were kind of seeing Jay and Jenna. And then she was able to get ties from him on the show. And then because of their rookie status, they went far. Season 27, she went far on that season as well. 28, she went very far because she was paired up with Vince, and Bananas and Sarah were incredible that season. So I don't think Zach ever was the problem with
in
her.
the beginning.
I mean, in Total
maybe
Madness. In Total Madness.
Definitely. Total Madness was hard to watch.
He was rough.
Yeah. Or which was the season when she was on, she called him and he was like, who?
Total Madness.
That was Total Madness? Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It seems like it's longer ago.
That was Rivals 3.
Oh, okay.
That was Rivals 3 when she called and she called him and she's like, Brooke. And so she was down, but she never left. She never went. She went all the way to the finals that season. So I would deem to say that it was Kayla. I'm gonna blame all of it on Kayla.
We'll blame Kayla and Nany for not telling her to not date Zach. Like they should have put a stop in that.
I would 100%. I would 100% say Total Madness was Zach's fault, but also Kayla wasn't helpful either. just to be fair.
Yeah,
but that's
I'm just shocked. Shocked they didn't talk about these things before she went out there to go play the game, right? Like you think that
it was a manipulative tactic, I think, for him to like get her to want to come back, and like he doesn't want her to be in the limelight, and like the whole Corey tweets or DMs from years ago. Like, anyways, it was all just he saved that just as a manipulative tactic. It's pretty gross, to be honest.
Yeah, it was really bad. I don't know why we went on that trajectory.
I blame you.
Yeah,
definitely Drew's fault.
That's gonna be the next battle. What was the downfall of Jenna, Kayla or Zach? And I have to vote that it's not Zach.
I kind of feel weird talking about Zach and her as well, because they've got like a kid together now. They look like they're in some sort of a happy. I mean, obviously we don't know what's going on. I don't want to talk to a relationship that is still working and there's a kid involved. So it kind of feels iffy. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't really want to. Yeah, Zach is the worst. You know, maybe things outside of the show has worked out. I hope it's worked out well for them outside of the show.
Of course.
See, this is me being the neutral person.
I mean, I don't want her to be in a relationship with and not be happy and loving and all that. But from what he's shown me, I would expect that it's going to go downhill at some point. You know what I mean? And so it's unfortunate that I want the best for them, and I hope for the best, and that's it. That's all I will say.
Yeah, you hope that it's like I don't know, a CT kind of thing where he was a very big hothead, kind of misogynistic, getting into people's faces, wanting to fight everybody, and kind of a big a-hole. And then all of a sudden he kind of turns his life around, has a kid, kind of changes his tune. I mean, he still has those old CT-isms like come out here and there, but you would hope that maybe Zach would mature a bit and go for that. I don't know. I haven't seen him. I don't really follow him either. So until he comes back to the challenge and plays a different tune, I cannot unpicture Zach as a big
Deplorable.
jerk face. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say
I
that.
don't know if we'll ever see him back, to be honest. I kind of feel like his ship has sailed. It's kind of how I feel. I don't feel like he was ever like a fan favorite. People are like waiting there saying, hey, I want to see Zach back on the show. Like, we're missing him. Not that the producers actually care or listen to what most of the fans think about some of the players, but I feel like people were just kind of like, eh.
Well, that's the thing is, like, if people get to a point where they're always saying, like, where's this person or where's that person? We need a new cast. We need something else. Like, I could see where he's done shows without Jenna, like War of the Worlds 2, and they might be like, well, I could go get some extra cash. I could be out of the house and maybe I could win a final again, kind of thing. And I'm not saying I want that to happen, but I could see that being the case where they're like, everybody hates the cast. Let's just try to put out a wide net and see who says yes. And Zach, I think, would be the one that says yes. And if it's both of them getting the call, he would go before Jenna does, I think.
Well, especially now that they have a child. I can't see him letting her go on the show and him staying home with the child. I just don't see a world where that's going to happen at all.
I mean, we're kind of winding down if everybody's...
I just wanted to say, Abdi says here, Amanda ruined Zach's season. They were the favorites. Life Might Outside, great times. And that's so true. That was one of my favorite moments from that season where Amanda and Zach won the daily and got eliminated because they couldn't agree. And it just showed the stubbornness that both of them had. That's why I love the Rivals, Vendettas, Final Reckoning, that type of seasons. I just think that it's great to see people together who truly hate each other's guts, not the manufactured, hate, and get them to work together. It brings great moments like that, which we just don't have on the show anymore. Bring back Rivals or something similar to that.
Absolutely. Old school formats. I want to see it again. Maybe if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I just want to see old school formats. I want to try it again. Like they did Rivals a gazillion times. Like, why can't they do another one? They've done quite a few X's. Like, just do one more. We definitely don't need another spy.
Technically, that was Final Reckoning was Rivals. I mean, they just renamed it and they made it Rivals/X's.
And that was like the conclusion of Rivals, I guess, sort of.
Yeah, kind of. But see, now we should do that one. We'll just have like an all Zach debate, but it's like Final Reckoning, who was right, Zach or Amanda? Like, who is the one that, to me,
I would get too emotional. I would just say 100% Amanda was right. Zach doesn't deserve anything.
Okay, so Chantele has to defend Zach. We've already determined that. Just based on this, Chantele has to defend Zach on that one.
Well, it's so frustrating because it's so true that Zach was in the wrong. So his whole point was, I only have one team in the game, that's Tony and Bananas, and I want to keep them safe. But it's like, she has a whole squad. She has an army called the Lavender Ladies. Like, that's the numbers. That's how you win. That's how you won your season on Battle of the Seasons. Frank got you numbers. And you're sitting there going like, you have so many teams and I only have one. So I want to keep the one team that could really destroy us if we really thought about it in a final. If it was all eating, all non-puzzles, which it pretty much wasn't. There was no puzzles on that one, or not that they showed, but it was all eating and just doing physical stuff. So it's like, Zach, you're an idiot. Just let her get you to the farther. Like, why are you doing this? You're dumb. I hate that so much. I can't.
How do you guys think?
Final Reckoning.
How do you guys think Jody and Ayana would do in a Rival season together?
Oh, that would be amazing. Not well though. I don't think that they would work very well together, but it would be very fun to watch. I do think that Jody is very consistent, so they might be able to do decently well, but I can't picture them getting all the way to a final and then winning it. But I'd like to see them try.
Who would be the most, just before we finish off here, I know it's getting pretty late into the podcast, who do you guys think, and you in the live as well can participate in this, who do you guys think would be the most explosive rivalry to play in a rival season? If we had to bring two players together that absolutely just hate each other's guts to play together, and what would bring some excitement and some real drama to the show? I've thought of Ayana and Jody because of the salad argument, and I think that there's some real hurt feelings between them and a real dislike for each other. Who else, Drew, do you think would bring some real excitement?
The first one that comes to my head, and it's like hearkening back to Rivals 1, and it would be, I would want to say, like Jordan and Wes would be a really one that like both would want to do one thing one way. Jordan would constantly get Wes in trouble and be like, what are you doing? Throughout the challenges, daily challenges, they would be bashing heads on each other. I would think
Paulie and Bananas. Wow, yeah, that could be another one, because there's some stuff that happened behind the scenes. I think Baby Ice just said Paulie and Bananas. Be good for Paulie. Like be good for Bananas, probably. They'd probably do well together, actually, if they could learn to work together.
I would love it just so it would make Kara squirm on like trying to like have to work with Bananas.
Kara and Kyle.
Because of Paulie.
Kara and Kyle together. Oh, could be exes as well, I guess, but that would be an interesting dynamic.
I can't even think of anybody that hates each other right now, because I feel like all the fights are always manufactured. So I'm like, do they really hate each other? Do I want to see them fight more? Nah.
Yeah, it's really tough nowadays.
School on the brain, though. I'd have to like go back and watch some season to be like, oh yeah, like that, bring those people back. Who else? Is there any other hate?
I feel like a lot of the old school, like I'm thinking of the old school players more so, like Laterian, for instance, this last season. Who's the one who did Laterian dirty? Because he, again, to me, just seems to be like a real hothead, and he would be fired. It would probably be like that alliance of Brad and Jody, maybe like a Laterian Brad. Who was the main person? Like, I know he went in hot when he got thrown down there. Just forgot. I'm completely short for it now. But you need the old school approach, you've double crossed me, I'm going to get you back type of mentality. And you're right, Chantele. Everybody is just playing kumbaya in the recent seasons, and the show is allowed for it by just choosing the same people to go out there and play over and over together. Amber and Fessy would be a good one as well. Like Amber, but in the sense that Fessy really, didn't want to work with Amber. Got rid of Amber in that season, and then Amber went and won that season. I think there's some real hurt feelings there. And
yeah, they definitely would be rivals. I just don't know if I want to see them fight for 6 months. Like, do you really want to see them fight for 6 months? Because they'll probably get to the end because they will have the big brother in numbers. And like what if Amber like helped Fessy get a W? No way. No. I can't see this world. Nope.
What about a Turbo and Jordan?
Ashley and Berna.
Would they do Turbo and Jordan, or is Turbo just off the rails completely? He'd want to kill.
He's done.
Yeah, sad.
Ashley and Berna would be a good duo.
My favorite is if David would have said Ashley and Bertha. That would have been
so rude. So rude.
Yeah,
Laurel and Carl.
Tasha and Tori. Tasha and Tori, potentially.
I keep on avoiding like the Tori ones. Like, I don't want to.
Well, the thing with Tori is like, I think it would be like a Paula situation, and if she was in a rivalry, she would just make it work. Like, there's no real like.
That's true.
Because like Paula's rivals, quote unquote, she was excited for them. So like when Rivals happened, she's like, Paula, you're going to be with Evelyn. She went like this right away. And then in the confessional, she's like, oh, I was so happy. But then I remembered we don't like each other. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, you're going to sit there and be like, oh, I don't like Evelyn. Get me a win. Hurry up.
What about a Teresa and Cam? Potentially.
That could be a good duo.
I think Teresa and Nany would be way more feisty.
Oh, yeah.
They have a huge history with each other, I would think.
And like they're not afraid.
We just agreed Nany is done. I thought we just agreed she's retiring.
Yeah, and Tori's the face.
Oh my god, I lost that one, and she's the face of the challenge now.
That's all happening, by the way.
We should have.
Imagine?
You know what we really should have done on this? We should have had some stakes to this whole thing. Where if you lose the whole Tori is the face, now Chantele has to change her profile picture on her Instagram for a week to Tori's face, and Tori will be the face of reality realness for the next week. I think that would have been funny.
Oh my gosh, you know how awesome. Okay, so next, the next draft that we do, there'll be stakes on. There has to be a punishment, and whoever loses the next season we do, they have to wear the same shirt over and over again, but it's a shirt with the face of the challenger that they least like, and they have to wear it over and over again.
And it
says team
fan.
somebody.
Number one fan.
Okay.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
So funny.
I'm down. I love having stakes on things. So, all right. I see you.
I'm gonna throw it out there. I feel like maybe I should pick the order for the next one since I won All Stars 2. If it's gonna be All Stars 3.
Yeah, go for it.
You do get to do that pick.
All right. Well, I'll keep that a secret. I won't tell anybody who I would be picking first, Wes. I would not say, especially with confessionals. Gosh, whenever it comes out. I mean, it said coming soon, and it's been like 3 weeks to a month since the ending of All Stars 2. So
I feel like they'll drop it on us like within a week or two. Paramount will just say, it's up next week or 2 weeks from now type of thing.
You think it's going to be like in March?
I think it's going to be March. I don't think that they'll wait too long, because if it's in March, it'll probably, well, I guess it depends on how they want to space out the dead space between All Stars 3 and the Challenge 38, because they could potentially kind of fill their void in the middle somewhere so people don't forget about the show. So we're all getting Josh shirts.
I feel like well, the thing with when they announce a cast, they don't do it like the next week they like drop it. So it's almost like it could be like 2 weeks to a month before they actually drop it, when they drop the cast and then the trailers and stuff. So I could almost think that if they drop it in March, like around March 1st or whatever, that it wouldn't be until April that we'll get it. And then that would be 2.5 months, essentially, if it's 10 episodes, which then would take us into the summer seasons, which would take us into Big Brother and stuff. So I don't know. I heard X on the Beach is coming in March. So
that's true.
We'll see how that goes.
True.
So we might have Survivor and the Challenge All Stars at the same time.
I mean, I'd rather that than both
the Challenge regular and All Stars, because I don't know why they do that. Like, it's just like, I love watching 2 at a time, but I'd much rather have them space it out than have them both play at the same time.
It makes a lot more sense, I think, production wise, at least for the audience, to have them like in between. Like, why wouldn't you have the off season be when you have like time off? I mean, to me, that would just make a lot more sense than having them overlap and then only have like a month left of All Stars once the other one. Yeah, it just
well, especially since like if anybody's doing any coverage of the show, it's like, okay, well, we're already doing the challenge, so let's just tack on All Stars at the end. And they don't get their own, sometimes they don't get their own like podcast or coverage like with different channels and stuff. So like you would think that if they want more eyeballs and people talking about it, they would just like separate it a little bit.
Well, and even to that point, it's like, what about when there's nothing going on? Like, when this whole, if the main season is not going to be coming back, like at least filming until May, meaning that 3 weeks of filming or 3 months of filming, and then on top of that, the editing schedule could be another like month or two. It's like, well, you have this giant dip of nothing, like absolutely nothing. You don't even have All Stars 2, All Stars 3. Like, you could have had All Stars 2 in this moment, wait a little bit, and then have All Stars 3, and then it would lead into the next main season. It just seems like a complete mismanage of time that they could have had.
Totally agree. Best
rivalry, guys, just here in the chat. Best rivalry for Rivals 3, Wes and CT's shoe. I think that would be
That's a great one. I will say that Wes and Josh, and then Wes would just denounce
will never happen. It will never happen.
Like,
Wes told him. This is not a thing. This will never happen.
And then, but you know how funny that confessional would be if they were in the confessionals together and Josh is like, so this isn't happening? And he's like, it's not happening. This isn't a thing. Like, this is all a dream.
I don't think West would start I mean, I don't know. Do they, and you guys might have a better idea of this. Do these guys get a little bit of an idea as to who they're going to be teamed up with? I know that in Final Reckoning, they had the whole thing where they had to go dig them out of the graves, and then they would see who they, are going to be teamed up for the season. But on a classic rival season, do they know beforehand? I'm assuming they know, hey, we want you and so to be the rivals on this season. And I feel like if West knows that Josh is going to be that rival, he would just be like, nah, don't need to do this. I'm not going to put myself through it.
And he doesn't want
I don't think
to get Josh
no chance to win. Like what? No, and he wouldn't, like, not with Josh. Like, I mean, come on.
Maybe wasn't someone saying Josh is the best competitor? Josh is going to win. Maybe I said that. I don't know. Josh is going to win before Corey. One of you guys said it.
Well,
maybe I said Corey's going to win. I don't know.
I claim innocence. I'm Shaggy in this. It wasn't me.
I will say that Wes could pull an Evelyn and just say, like, I got to do the impossible and make Josh win a challenge. Or he could be like, I'm the best to ever do it. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be me. Let's get it going. Like, we're going to make it to the finals and we're going to win.
Inflated his head would be if he carried him to a final and won it. He'd be like, I am truly the god at the challenge because I can even make Josh win a challenge season. That's how good I am. Because at the moment, CT's got that bragging rights, because like people are starting to call him the Oprah of the challenge. He's handing out championships to everybody. So, I mean, that's a pretty good spot to be in.
Yeah, it's like 500 grand. That's a lot of money.
I would use that as my case if I was CD and coming back and it's like this
Devin
kind of
season.
Yeah.
But Devin's kind of got soft, so I don't know actually. Like
yeah, true. I will say that if there is it would be really terrible, and I'll say this right now, it would be really, really rough for at least Josh in this way, is if they were to win and then Wes can take all the money, and he does. And I don't know if you guys have been on Twitter lately, but there's a lot of speculation on whether Hunter is technically a winner or not, because the ending title card says Ashley is the Final Reckoning winner. And for Josh to finally get all the way to the end, get to a final all the way to the end and to win, and then Wes takes all the $1 million and Josh doesn't technically get a winner like pendant or anything, that would be incredible. Like,
Drew, you're petty, but I love it.
That's petty boots. Petty. But I would
I feel like we should have a proper, like definitely one of the discussions we need to have is like put our heads together, come up with like a rivals cast. What would we like to see? And make a case. The debate would be why this would be a good rivalry to have on the challenge. So we all get veto options on whoever we want and as our like 3 or 4 teams, and we should have a discussion about that. I think it could be a really fun one.
Oh my God. Are we evil?
I mean, this would be crazy. If you see my name at the end of the production credits, you know what happened. You know what happened. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
But all right. That is it for the debate. I think it's been over for a little bit. We've just been chatting around for like 30 minutes, but it's always fun to like get to hang out and talk to you guys and get to like hang out, especially since we talked so long about the challenge for so many weeks and then had a couple of times off. But thank you again for joining us on the debate. If you are still here, you are a real one and you are true. And we thank you for that. Thank you to both Chantele and Chris for joining me tonight for the debate and being great at it and somewhat destroying me yet again for a second time in a row.
You did pretty good.
Chris,
you did pretty good. You did.
What is going over on the Nullified Take channel? If you want to shout out what you're doing for everybody who's still here.
Yeah, 100%. So Nullified Take, new channel on YouTube. I think we're getting close to 150 subscribers. We might be 2 subscribers away. So if anybody wants to get me over that hump, I'd really appreciate it. Go check out the Nullified Take on YouTube. Currently, we're talking about Australian Survivor Blood versus Water, and also the current Amazing Race season. Pretty soon, we will also be talking about Survivor 42, and we're going to continue to add more content to it. But more importantly, if you're a big challenge fan, myself, Chantele, and Drew will be covering All Stars 3 and podcasting about it every week on there as well. And then you'll probably see me on Chantele or Drew's channel doing stuff like this in the future. We three like each other's company, like Drew said, and it's always fun talking to these two about the challenge. So yeah, go check it out if you like what this dynamic is about. Go give it a subscription. I would really appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching.
Woo! Yes, please go and follow Chris. It would be great to get you to 1,000 subscribers at least by the end of like the next Challenge 38. Like that would be
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Super awesome.
Incredible.
What do I have going on? So tomorrow evening, 5 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing this week's 3 episodes. Episode 4, 5, and 6 of Australian Survivor. Then on Monday, we're going to have a double header. So I'll be doing a watch party with Sarah from Nerdtainment over on her Twitch channel at the Sarah Atwood. We'll be watching episode, 7 of Australian Survivor. And then I will be going live after the episode of Big Brother with Rob as a podcast. Same thing's going to happen on Tuesday. So 5 p.m. Eastern, live on watch party on the Twitch. And then after that, we're going to do the roundtable with Taryn and Melissa. And then on Thursdays, well, I'm going to go live after every other episode that I'm not doing it with Rob as a podcast. Thursday, I'll be doing the Amazing Race with Phil. And then, yeah, we're back to ones. I think that's all I got going on, but it's quite a bit.
That's it?
Follow me. Yeah, that's it. I know. So
at one point, it just seems like you're going back to back in my subscription feed. I'm like, oh my gosh, like.
Well, one thing that I have been doing though is like if I'm how I'm here, I have been making like a post just so like people will like, oh, I'm going live, and then I put like a link to your thing, and so that could be another reason why it seems like I'm going live a little bit more if I'm just kind of directing people to other channels. Just saying, but I do go live at least once a day.
No, it's incredible. I love the drive. I love the grind. I sit at my computer for 10 to 12 hours a day working on videos. So yeah, it's fun. It's sometimes tough. You sometimes question yourself in the middle of certain things, going like, is this good enough? Will this be good enough? But it's really, really fun. And I love having 2 friends that are always pushing themselves, going the extra mile. It makes me want to be a better content creator and put more effort into everything that I do and try to be better. So thank you again for joining me for tonight. Thank you to everyone who is still in the chat. We will be doing this again for sure. Probably in March, we'll come back to it. Maybe if we really want to do it in February, but we'll be keeping everybody up to date when we do this again. We'll also be doing probably some challenge talk on Chris's channel when it comes to All Stars 3 drops, and we're going to be doing a draft and talking about the cast and what we can expect from All Stars once that drops, which could be any week,
day,
any Wednesday. Soon is almost come and gone. Let's just say that. Like soon is almost come and gone. But thank you again. I'll be coming out with more challenge videos and more reality TV videos very, very soon. And thank you again.
Thanks, guys.
Hope everybody has a great weekend. And see y'all next time.
Bye.